What's up, guys? What's today, Coach? What is today?
Today's Pillar Talk episode
154.
All right, 154.
Last week I noticed I put 130. Brost, the owners of Brost Farms with
Shout
us.
out.
Hey. So, real quick before we get started, this show's brought to you by Kennedy Health and Wellness, BrainJerk Entertainment, the Monroe County Reporters, and Smoker Society. We're sponsored by Little Brown Jug, Amaya's Fresh Mexican Grill, 8 Mile Vodka, Mint Cannabis, IWR, Lane's Pizza, and Just Drive with Jess. So,
A lot of G's.
yeah, right.
Yeah, I like it.
Appreciate them.
That being said, tell us who you are and what you're doing here.
All right. Well, hey, we own Brost Farms. My name's Kevin. This is Caitlin.
I'm Caitlin. Hi.
So we're just here to talk to these guys about what we do. We started probably about late 2018 is when we started doing this like real heavy.
Okay.
So started off as, you want to start with like the property? Start way back and then
let's
start our way forward.
Because
Let's-
this is what I
let's
do
go.
know. I looked a little bit up and I saw that 6th generation.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So we can start there.
I got you.
She's the historian. She knows
So,
all the numbers.
I'm the one that's in the family. I'm the Brost side of the family. We're the 6th generation. Our son is the 7th, and the farm was acquired back in the 1880s. So very, very long time ago. I believe it was 1881.
Okay.
The house that we currently live in was built in the 1890s by my family, so it's super nostalgic. We love it.
Right.
So no, you guys, they found Monroe in the late 1700s, like almost 1800s.
Yeah.
So
So
they've been here for a while.
yeah, Jacob, he came from Germany originally, and then he lived in, I believe, somewhere in Ohio for a while, and then he migrated up here.
Okay.
And they purchased the property, and they used to own the property all the way to the Raisinville Bridge. Over the years,
Okay, wow.
they would like section it off and give it to the kids after they got married and whatnot.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
My cousin actually lives next door to us, and she still has the property that's next to us as well. So it's
Yeah, and so Jacob, her that would be your great grandfather.
all the way back.
Okay.
So he was a Mason, and he actually built that church on the corner of Raisinville and Stewart Road.
Wow. Okay.
He built that church.
And there's a house on Godfroy and Elm,
Mm-hmm.
a brick home that he built as well.
Yep. Raisinville and North Custer. I'm sorry.
Roots are deep.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
Yep.
I've never been inside that house. It was sold off years before I came around. But yeah, there's a lot of history there. I love it. The Brost name's pretty embedded in the old Monroe. There's not very many of us left anymore.
I always wish I could see what Monroe looked like back then,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
because I've read things, right? But to actually see how great for me, anyways, because of the wildlife and the and everything was so natural. That the sturgeon we're in this river right next to us.
Yep.
For like, how big do those things get?
Big. I think probably like 6 or 7 feet.
We were talking
Yeah.
with Tom last week, and Tom, we were
600
talking
or
about the
700
rumor was
monsters.
that people used to be able to like jump on them.
Yeah. Yeah, they'd get stuck in water holes
Literally.
when the
Yeah,
tide
you
would
put sail
go out or whatever, and then people would jump on them and ride them.
It's so cool. But we live on the river too, so that's part
Okay.
of our property.
Uh-huh.
The river Raisin runs to our property.
And so for me, like I'm listening to it, and I'm like, the Monroe part of it's super crazy, but just like how much tradition, memories, how much of just wow has that land seen and that farm and that house, like that is
Yeah.
to like I don't obviously I'm not a Monroe historian, but I'm like that's got to be one of the you guys have to be one of the longest living families in our like that's got to
Oh
be.
no, there's so many.
Are you
others.
serious?
Yeah, there's
There
a lot
Yes.
there's a lot of really well established, especially in
Even
agriculture.
from before the 18
Yeah, even from before. Yeah.
I would
That's
say
crazy.
so.
Yep.
Yeah, they might not be currently farming,
Mhm.
but you know,
Okay.
they might be leasing their property out to another farmer
Right.
that's farming it.
Okay,
That's
so that
pretty
makes
common.
sense.
Yeah, and
But that's green farmers. We're not
Right.
green farmers. You know, that's
Right,
another
right.
thing that's different about us as well.
Because
Yeah.
there's
I'm sure we'll get into that at some point.
right. I was just gonna say I have questions about the different styles of farming.
Yeah.
But that's still that's crazy to me. How many years in tradition and just
And there's a lot of places, like Caitlin said, a lot of places are here, but they haven't been farmed in a while. This area is huge for manufacturing, and in the 20s when all these factories started being built, farm families were always really big. They had a lot of kids. And when the parents would die, it would, the property would go to the kids. And a lot of these kids who are now deceased, but they would go into manufacturing, they'd work in factories, and they didn't want anything to do with farming or anything like that. And the land would get sold and split up into different parcels and stuff. So, I mean, really anybody in Monroe, chances are if you go in your backyard, there's probably something historical.
That's crazy. That's true though.
I used to find arrowheads that would come up in between, like the cement sidewalks out there at
At
our
the farm?
property. Yeah, because I mean we're right on the river. So if you think about it,
that makes sense, right?
yeah, there
That's
was a lot of
crazy.
things.
Though.
I still have some. I still have them.
That's
pretty
wild.
cool.
Though.
Yeah.
That's stuff like that. Finding old stuff like that. Like I'm always intrigued. Like we were just talking about listening to Rogan. I'm always intrigued with like that Alaskan guy. That's like discovering all the woolly mammoth tusks and everything in his backyard. I'm like,
cool.
this guy like owns this property. It's called the Alaskan.
I forget.
Damn, there's something to it. I can't remember the name of it,
Did
but
they find something like that in
Michigan,
Irish
yeah.
Hills at one point?
Really?
I think it was last summer.
I think so.
no
Yeah.
kidding. See,
Yeah,
stuff
but
like
it
that.
was-
But even finding stuff like that on your property, I'm like, I'd be freaking
Yeah.
amazed by that.
Yeah.
You would be absolutely amazed about this whole land from the ground up is historical.
Absolutely.
Wars, people coming here, people doing this or that. People, I'm telling you.
I feel like there's
I've been reading the books lately, so I know a
Small
little
but
bit.
mighty.
But
Mhm.
yeah,
There's
there's a lot.
There's a lot of secrets there. Man.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Every building in Monroe that's over 40 or 50 years old has some secrets.
Definitely.
For sure.
I gotta give you guys some credit too, because I think that's special. To still be one of the ones that's like maybe not the oldest family here, but one that's still like carrying on the traditions and carrying on the land and preserving it.
Family tradition.
It sure is. It sure is.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we didn't really know in the beginning that was the route we were going to take. I mean, we had real jobs. We worked for AT&T, and I worked in the business sector, and I traveled all over Michigan and Ohio all the time, and Kevin was a store manager.
I was a retail manager, and let me tell you what. No matter what day it is, no matter how deep in cow shit I am, no matter how cold it is or how warm it is, I think in my head, I'm like, God damn, I'm glad I'm not at that stupid store anymore.
I feel that though, man. I did retail the first 5 or 6
dude,
years of my
that's
life, and
People don't give a shit. And
Yeah,
honestly,
at
I
all.
feel like it's gotten worse over the years. So
Yeah.
we quit. We were able to leave that industry in 2018. I left in the beginning of 18, and he left in the end of 18,
Yep.
and the rest of it has just been history.
Yeah, we started doing this full time, and so when we started putting our full attention into it, we started kind of developing like a business model and started to kind of develop our identity as a business and everything like that. And then we started at the Monroe Farmers Market. You know,
Shout out.
Yep, yeah, for
That's
sure.
where we met you
That's-
guys.
yeah.
That market
Honestly-
was amazing for us. We really established ourselves as
They helped us so much.
yeah, we met so many people, and there's so many people to this day, and that, this was 6 or 7 years ago, but there's so many people to this day that order with us once a
Yeah.
week,
That you
twice
met
a
from
week,
there.
and we met them at the farmers market.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we're very,
so
very
it's
blessed for that.
it's really cool.
And for those listening, go to the Monroe Farmers Market
check them out.
They're
on
great.
Saturdays from. You guys remember the time?
7 to 1. is
7
their
to 1.
hours.
So
Now,
get up early, go
Yeah.
get some breakfast, and go down to the farmers market. Open in the winter as well,
Yep.
just so people know.
all
It's
seasons.
open in the winter.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not there anymore. In the summertime, we're at the Trenton Farmers Market.
I've seen
Yep,
that.
like downriver.
What am I buying from you at this farmer's market?
Well, it depends on where you come and see us, because
Yes.
there's a couple different ways to kind of order with us. Do you want me to get into
yeah.
how that goes? Cool. So, one of the reasons why we ended up leaving the farmers market was, I mean, honestly, we were selling a lot, and it was a lot to keep up with. He's a musician.
Shout out.
So the weekends are pretty tied up with him. And I was
Yep.
getting up at 4 a.m. every single Saturday. And I would pack all the coolers up and load them into the vehicle and peel him out of bed to help me load these 100-pound coolers to
I'd
go
get home
sell.
at 3 a.m.
Say after
and
a
then
night.
I'd
Rough.
wake up. I mean, and we play like every weekend, so I'd get home at like 3 a.m. I'd get like an hour or two of sleep. Time to get up.
So he'd help me set up,
What?
and then he'd go back, and it would probably be like 1 or 2 in the afternoon by the time I was tore down and put everything away. And so it was a little bit much. We had put a building on our property to try to facilitate during COVID all of the influx of people coming to our property versus like a farmer's market and stuff like that. So we transitioned to a storefront at our farm. And then we decided that, online makes sense. Most of our customers were already using like Butcher Box and different avenues of getting meat delivered to their house. So we were trying to give them a local option, but still, make it easy for them to still work with us.
Yeah.
So we offer delivery. When you order on our website, we offer every Tuesday, unless the weather's bad.
Yeah.
Just depends. It's Michigan, guys. So Tuesdays I do deliveries, and then we're open at the farm Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Mhm.
Yep. And you can just pop in at the store on those dates. You don't have to place an order. Most people do just to like reserve their stuff that they know they're going to have it. But yeah, that's how you find us.
So if Coach just pops up at the farm, can he pet some cows or something?
If you bring boots, absolutely.
If you bring boots, yeah.
Depends on how dirty you want to get.
Yeah, if you bring boots.
All seasons.
I think Josh was asking that question for himself, but I'm just
Yeah, so I got a friend
Most
that
of
really
them-
likes to pet
so-
cows.
no, that's super cool though.
So most of our animals are pretty friendly.
Yeah.
Especially if you follow us on social media, we post a lot of videos.
Sure.
I do it more for people to get like the whole aspect of being at the farm and not trying to be like a social media influencer. You're not going to see me doing tags or trying to sell you guys on stuff. That's not how we roll. But we will teach you about how we raise the animals, and most of them are super, super friendly. You can pet them if you choose. Most people don't want to do that.
See, I bring like Aurora out, right? She would love to, but I will give you this. So we're all obviously in business in this room. Even though you don't necessarily follow the like influencer trend of maybe advertising stuff, you guys do a great job, because what we get as a consumer from you guys is we actually get educated in authenticity, and I think that wins, right? It's not like when I watch your guys' stuff, like and I'm not saying this disrespectfully, but it's not all pretty. Like it's the real reality of like, this is the shit we go through. This is the stuff that's going on. This animal is going through this. This is what we do to help it. Like it's very amazing. That's why I actually saw your post today and I was like, that's a little weird. I was kind of thrown off by it, to be honest. That's why I gave the little wow reaction. But I was like,
it's happened for a
I was
couple
thrown
of
off.
years.
But you guys seem like you guys do, great stuff. And then you advertise it in such a beautiful way that's not pushing, like you said, to be like a social media influencer, or just to, hey, we just want you to come to our farm and buy our shit. It's more like, hey, we want you to know why we do this.
Yeah.
And we want you to know why it's actually better for you to eat this stuff. And I think you guys do a phenomenal job at that. So we talked about that before, but I think for anybody who hasn't shopped and like checked out your guys' stuff, like I highly encourage them to do so. And within just scrolling a couple posts, you can see what you're kind of getting into and what they're about. And I love that. So
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Definitely.
We try to keep it real with everything. A lot of the videos and stuff that we do is completely off the cuff. We don't. I mean, sometimes we'll be like, okay, we're gonna go do this, and we're gonna get this kind of video, but a lot of the times, we'll just be out there, or I'll be working and we're doing something together, and then she'll whip her phone out and record something, and I'm like, great, I'm covered in shit. My hat's all crooked. Like, this is awesome. But it's real. I mean, that people like to see stuff that's real.
we appreciate it.
Yeah, but that's kind of I think we had this talk at one point, like we wanted to give people the experience and the ease of use of working with a corporation. Like, how easy is it to go on Amazon and order something? It's super easy. Like, but we wanted to give people that experience, but you're still shopping with a local business, but we're making it easy.
Or even your competitors, like not even just like Amazon, but like ordering, like you mentioned a couple of the different names. Like I've seen them advertise, I listen to a lot of podcasts and
There's so
and
many
even them, I'm
different
like,
ones.
cool, you tell me to order and I can get it for this much, but you literally don't ever tell me what I'm eating, other than it's beef, or you don't tell me like where it comes from, you literally are just blasting me with this big colorful picture or this, highly paid for advertisement. And
Right.
it's like, damn, I don't even know what the hell you guys are doing to,
Stock
get
photos.
this or
Stock photos.
That's
or
my
yeah.
favorite.
stock
A stock photo.
Yeah,
Right
and a
off.
lot of the times too with
grainy ones too.
Yeah, right. Like
let me
Google
let me
Images.
screenshot that.
It's still got the ink mark, the watermark on the back.
No better,
Yeah,
man.
right.
Honestly, most of our pictures on our website and even that I share on our Facebook page and Instagram, they're on our little table that's in our shop where you can come and shop with us.
Mhm.
So it's not professional. It's just me with a camera, my phone actually. Just
Is that your son that I'm assuming was in there the other day with you guys
Yes.
when you
Yeah.
guys were doing your sale? But see, I
Oh.
love that. I was like, that was so authentic and
Yeah.
so like,
Yeah.
that's perfect.
he has a Lego table currently in our shop. If you bring your kids,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
Legos
Little
to
Lego
play with.
museum.
And when he was talking about it in the video, I was
Yeah.
like, how cool. That's a place that you want. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, just as a consumer, and obviously, I've been watching, keeping up with you guys since we met you guys at the farmers
Years
markets and everything.
ago.
I love
Yes.
what you guys do. But even just from a consumer, like just watching that, I was just like, that's a place I would go. Because that's a place, not only am I going to go buy stuff, I can and get a good product, I can actually go have a conversation, and I have a young one. My young one can go out there and have conversations, have fun,
Absolutely.
look at the animal. Like there's just it's a inviting environment.
Yep.
You know?
Cats, dogs, cows.
Yeah,
All of
and
the
you
above.
get like you get that experience when you come and shop with us, when you come to the farm, or even when you get stuff delivered and it's in a nice bag, everything's vacuum sealed,
Right.
it looks really nice. And then when you come to the store, we sell more than beef. We have pasta, we have sauce, honey, eggs,
Okay.
Yep.
all of which is from local vendors.
Love that.
Every product that we sell is from somebody local. Yeah, and it helps us. It helps other people around us. It's
You
not,
build up your community.
yeah, it's not
important.
necessarily a competition with other people. We can all help each other and build each other up and everything like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're
Wish more
transparent.
people thought that way.
Yeah, a lot of people, when you retract from other people in the business community and stuff like that, you miss out on, number one, you miss out on a lot of ideas, because you'll pick up stuff talking with people and you're like, man, I never thought about it that way, or just contacts and things in general, like.
And there's strength in numbers, right?
Mhm.
Like for example, we're doing the coaching clinic and like I couldn't have done that on my own, obviously. Like that's something I needed 5 or 6 of my, not just people, business owners either, but like 5 or 6 of my closest to like pull something like that. Strength comes in numbers. So,
It does, yeah.
and for you
Absolutely.
guys, it's like business is business, right? At the end of the day, you put somebody's honey in there that's high quality. It's going to help somebody come to the farm. It's going to help them sell honey. We all win at the end of the day.
Eat local honey.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure.
So many
Definitely.
good health benefits, and
It's
that's the
better
other
for
thing.
you.
That's the other reason why we support local businesses, because if you shop with us locally, all of those items are going to benefit you, like the honey. It's going to help you in the season of getting sick.
Mhm.
So, and it's delicious.
So as
Go
far
wrong
as
with
like the actual meats and like, what are you guys doing at the farm? Like, what can we buy as far as the actual specific, am I getting burger patties? Am I getting,
everything. And so that's another cool thing about shopping with us is if we don't have it in our freezers, which we have, we have a ton of different stuff. We can get anything, if you let us know what you want, one of our animals that we bring in, we can get you that particular cut from that animal and you're good to go. It's
not always immediate. It can take
No,
like a
it's a
3 or
couple
4
week
week
turnaround.
turnaround,
but that's kind of the beauty of working with a local business is it takes a little bit longer because it's our stuff. It's real. This is how it works.
ooh, that's what he just said though,
Yeah.
is something that it's real,
Yeah.
right? That one catches me on it.
Yeah.
I've seen you
The
post
real
about it
deal.
before, right?
Yeah.
The we have similar thoughts as far as like the food system today.
Yep. But
Yes.
I was reading on your website that everything's all natural down to the food you feed them.
Mhm.
And then Coach was talking about why earlier, right? So tell us why you do things the way you do versus the way people normally do things. Air quotes, normally.
Normally, yeah. So the feed program that we have set up for our animals right now, it's really been refined since we started. Because when we first started, my father-in-law, so her father, and he's still involved in the business, but he taught me a lot of things about. I mean, there's so many things you need to know about the animal, about the digestion, about how they work, how they produce energy, all of that stuff. So what we feed right now, it's been refined down to the ideal amount of everything. Most of the feed that we use is all local. The only feed that we don't use, there's a supplement that we give to the animals. It's kind of like a salt lick, like you would with deer. That's that, and feed supplements are really the only thing that doesn't come from around here. Everything else is local, and it's from our property too.
So that obviously helps local businesses, but that and just for that, the average listener, that then ensures that animal is healthier, correct? And that what you're eating is actually healthier.
Yeah.
Well, they're pastured as well. So we have 65 acres that are dedicated just to pasture for the cattle. And then the remaining we use for growing crops to feed them. So we give them a couple different options here. We have silage that we use that they get fed. And that is the whole corn stalk. So instead of just the grain waiting until it's completely dried out and harvesting it with a combine, we use a chopper when it's still wet. And then we put it in piles, you pack it down, and then you seal it.
It's pretty cool.
It ferments.
And they eat that?
Yeah.
It's sweet.
Yep.
It's like a sweet feed almost. It's a natural feed. It ferments. It's not super high in protein, but it's really good, especially for our mama cows for lactating when they have their babies, because the babies stay with their moms. We don't take them from their moms like the dairy industry does. So they get weaned when they're older, but they stay with mom for usually like three to 4 months.
Yeah,
it depends on their weight.
Yeah, it depends on the weight. I usually wean them around 350, 400 pounds, because if you don't, you don't want to take them out too early, because then they're not getting a lot of the necessary nutrients that they need. And that's another advantage that we have, is a lot of like large, big, large food packers. They'll go out and they'll buy cattle that have been separated from their mothers basically at birth. They're raised on kind of
they're raised on different farms,
synthetic feed a lot of the times too.
I was gonna say bull crap.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and they're just raised differently and they're fed differently, and the result is not ideal. That's not how we want to do things. We want our animals to be as natural as possible, and that's staying with mom until you're big enough to come with us.
Yep. You want them pastured. You don't want them cooped up forever.
Mm-hmm.
You want them, to be able to eat grass when they can. You want them, to eat hay. You don't want them in a barn for their entire life. The thing that I like about the way that we do things too is that part of our pasture we do raise some feed on as well. So they graze corn. They go in the corn stalks and they eat. It's really beneficial for us too, because then we don't have to use a tractor. We don't have to use a combine. That's less fuel. That's less, with us use non-GMO corn as well when we raise our feed. You don't have to use a lot of sprays. So you're not using herbicides. You're not using pesticides. You're eliminating what you're putting into the ground while you're still growing something. And, we're not a full regenerative farm, but we're definitely trying to better what we have while still producing a good, solid product for our customers too.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's incredible. I just want to ask a quick question. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Just be quick. How many? Because to me, all that is like humanitarian, right? It's like, hey, we want to make the animal, like in a nutshell, that says to me, like, we want the animal to live happy and healthy, and we also want your product to be healthy and cut the bullshit out.
Yeah, right.
How much of the meat that people are buying is actually doing any of that?
Is doing any of
Like the grocery store, you mean?
Yeah, just any average American that's going to buy their burger meat. How much of that is actually being made?
Labeling is
Yes.
a really touchy subject, because what they want you to believe with labels is far from the actual truth.
Yes.
Right.
I think that's one of the reasons why we're so transparent with our customers is because the labeling is completely messed up in the US.
Yeah, and if you go,
It is. They're slick about it.
they are slick
Yeah.
and
about
they
it.
use certain words that
Trigger
Yes,
words.
buzzwords.
you know, enriched, and they
if
use
you
certain
go
things
on-
that make it say, oh, it's enriched.
Yeah. If you
Bleached.
if you go
Speak-
on
oh.
the website of pretty much any major food packer, I don't know if I can say company names on here, and I'll just leave it at that. You know, go on any website of any food packer, and it'll list all of the different companies that they own.
Not very many.
And there's a lot. You know, like one company will own 80 different brands.
So, like, I'll say it, like Tyson, right?
Tyson. Yep. So
That's one of them.
so if
Are we allowed to? I mean,
so if you go
They
on
take-
Tyson's,
did.
If they take us down,
if they take us down, they take us down. Bring it on, Tyson. Let's go. Round one.
but I
Ding
know
ding.
they're one of them, right?
So
Yeah.
if you go on their website, it'll list all the different companies that they own.
I've read that.
And then you
before.
walk through the grocery store, and then you look at these two packaging, these two packages of meat. They have different labels on them, different company names, but at the end of the day, those two pieces of meat
Same
came from the
freaking
same
thing.
from the same production line.
Probably the
Yes.
same. Yeah, same
But they were put in
process.
a different package, and they were labeled, Miller's Poultry instead of Tyson Chicken. It's the
Right.
same. It's
Mixed a
the-
few words around on the packaging to make it.
It's
look a
the
little
same
different.
exact stuff, and it's kind of unfair to the consumer. It really is, because there's only so much research that you can do. We're all busy. We're all adults. We got stuff going on.
That's how they.
We
get
don't
us.
have time to do the research and figure out who
Yep.
Tyson owns and who Purdue owns and who, that's the cool thing about us is you come to the farm and you get your meat and you know where it came from. And
You can get your questions answered
for sure.
if you have specific questions. And I know
Yep.
a lot of people specifically with vaccines, they want to know specifics about that.
Mhm.
You're not going to get that information from a grocery store. You're
Mhm.
not going to get that
Yeah.
from a supermarket.
Yep.
I mean, you
Yeah.
always should go to the source if you have specific questions.
call Tyson customer service and ask them what kind of vaccines they're using. Here. Oh, we use Click. That's what we use.
As funny as that is, though, that is freaking scary, man.
Yeah.
That's true.
Tell-
That
tell
there's
me-
nothing more in the world, and I'll just end my
Go
point on this, but there's nothing in the world right now, like all the Russia stuff and all the blah 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 hibbity hoo blah. Like, I'm not gonna lie, the thing that scares the piss out of me in today's world more than anything is our food. Like, it scares the shit out of me.
And it should.
And I post it all the time, and I know I'm not perfect. I know there's stuff that I eat and consume that is not the greatest, but even just I've started to kind of, since Rogan the last few years, shout out, but listening to that dude, like you get all these different perspectives and start listening, and you're like, Gary Brecka's one of them, the biologist guy who comes on and talks about how all these gene mutations and breaks and how you should eat this instead of this, and like you really educate yourself and you realize how freaking scary this is. And then you talk to somebody like you guys who, and I'll give you this credit, you guys I don't give a damn if it's Monroe or freaking Dallas. You guys are extremely important to people today,
Well, thank you.
because what you're doing is like it's necessary. It's super necessary. And
Yeah.
it's just, that is my biggest fear, I think, in our world today is, damn, our food system here, it's horrid, and it's getting worse.
So on that note, what's the difference between yours and theirs as far as like what I'm eating
As far as
from the supermarket?
the
We'll call it burger, right?
uh-huh.
So I'm getting a pound of burger over here at the supermarket. I'm getting a pound of burger from you. Why should I get it from you other than you love your animal?
Yeah, as far as the nutritional
Yep.
value or like the dining experience itself,
Both,
because there's a
for that matter.
difference in both for sure.
Both.
I think one of the
Mhm.
biggest things for me, and I don't think a lot of people think about this when they go and buy a pound of ground beef at the grocery store, is we're single sourced meat. So that comes from one animal. It's not a combination of different animals that's ground up and packaged. We can trace that package of meat back to an animal that was raised on our farm, and we can give you any information about it if it ever had any type of vaccine, or where it was born, or what it was fed, how old it was, what it weighed, all the important things that most people would never think about, because it's big packaging companies. Oh my God, I can't even imagine how many. I think they said last week they were processing 54,000 head of cattle a week
Mhm.
in one processing plant. I think that was
Jeez.
JBS. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
And just think about that for a second. Like how many acres that would consume of those animals? Like that's insane to think about. But that's the consumers. That's what they want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, so when you buy meat like that, that's from animals that are raised in that manner, you know. So our stuff is going to be a lot more beneficial for you in terms of your nutrient intake and the overall dining experience too, like I said earlier. So when you eat one of our burgers, for example, like you brought up burger, there's going to be less fat in our burgers than there are in like a grocery store burger. And so when you cook that grocery store burger, it's going to shrivel up. And then, you know, your big half-pound burger is, it's like a little McDonald's patty now. You know, where's the beef? What the hell is going on? You know,
That's
and
the truth.
there's a lot of tricks that not grocery stores, but a lot of tricks that packers use to overinflate the weight of the burger. You know, they'll inject water a lot of the times, they'll inject more fat, you know. So it's when you buy our stuff, you're getting more meat and less filler, basically, for sure. Omega fatty acids, there's a lot more of those in our beef just because they're raised with higher quality feed. You get that nutritional value that the animal's getting, you know, that high quality diet, that's going to translate over into the meat too.
We dry age our meat too.
Yep, it's all dry aged. So it's from like the dining experience. If you buy one of our ribeyes, you know, let's say you buy our ribeye, and then you compare it to a grocery store ribeye. The grocery store ribeye, that is kind of distracting. The big grocery store ribeye, it's going to be squishy. It's going to be just kind of like, you know, it'll probably taste good if you season it the right way.
They all have the same color.
It looks like it's glued together.
I was going to ask about the color.
Yep.
All the
And
same color.
they inject a lot of the grocery store meat. They inject it with dyes, you know, red dyes, all, you know, and that stuff, it's really bad for you. It really is.
So the stuff from the farm will be darker, yeah?
The stuff from the farm is going to be darker. Yep. And you'll notice a lot of the times that, so our meat is prime. So you're going to get a lot of marbling in it that you're not getting with grocery store meat, you know. And some people are scared of that. Some people like leaner cuts, but we have that option too. You know, we have cuts from the animal that are way leaner than like a ribeye would be. You know, so we have tastes. We have products that fit any taste, really. You know,
who would want that?
I'm the same way. I like a big old fatty ribeye,
big
like,
ass fat steak burger.
Ever seen what a full sirloin steak looks like?
Oh,
Because it
huge.
takes people by surprise. Because we're used
Probably
to, like,
not,
you're
because
used to-
I've been to
you're used
Outback.
like, a
Yeah, right.
steak.
Yes.
So like most portion controlled steaks are like what 10, 8,
Probably
10,
about
12
10
ounces,
ounces, yeah.
depending.
Anywhere from 6 to 12.
Yeah, right.
No. So a regular sirloin steak looks like the state of Michigan. It's like very large, and it's got like a real tender piece that's over here. It's got a bone in it, and they're about 2 to 2.5 pounds. Like they're big.
They're big.
They are big steaks.
Yeah.
That's not something you're going to find in a grocery store.
Yep.
Most meat markets, you're probably not even going to find that because they trim that stuff. You know, they trim it off and
Yeah,
various
they trim.
cuts.
So that's the thing. They'll trim a lot of the fat and stuff like that off of the steaks and off of the other stuff, and then they take that fat and they put it through a grinder and then they inject it into your burger. Well, I mean, exactly. You're getting more weight. You're getting more weight per package, and so you think, you know, I'm gonna eat some burger. I'm gonna eat some grocery store chicken, and that grocery store chicken a lot of the times is even worse because those chickens are raised on a really high grain diet. So here you are thinking that, you know, I'm going to eat a lot of protein. I'm going to get this protein in me and I'm going to be big and strong. And, you know, I'm going to punch Conor McGregor in the face next time I see him. But then
He's mine.
Yeah. But then you know, you're eating this grocery store chicken and it's really high in carbs because of the way that the animal is raised. So yeah, you're getting your protein, but you're also eating a lot of carbs. So it might not get you that effect that you're looking for, that really high protein kind of leaner stuff would be. And you know what cracks me up when you look at chicken, for example, because we don't raise the chickens, but we do work with a local farm in Dundee, Glesser Farm. Shout out to them. What's up, Kay? They raise birds. They raise meat birds, and then they have egg layers that we get eggs for as well. But they're pastured in a chicken coop, like they're a chicken tractor. So
Okay.
You ever see where they say vegetarian fed or anything like that on chicken? Chickens are supposed to eat
Bugs and
insects.
stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
yeah.
have seen chickens eat mice.
Really,
I
mice?
mean,
Yeah.
they,
Isn't that one of those ploys though?
And
Because you
that's
label it.
a
Oh, the
thing.
chicken was only
I mean, it's a
vegetarian.
thing.
Yep.
fed.
You know, it's
And
a
everybody
thing
goes,
though.
"Oh, my chicken
Yeah.
only
But
ate
it's-
veggies."
So you're telling me that you would rather
Exactly.
eat something that's been
Likes
fed
cucumbers.
something
Everybody gets
artificial that they're
excited.
not supposed to eat versus one that foraged for food like they were meant to do? Like it's a whole concept. And
Yeah.
And
There's
the
a big-
eggs are better. I do know.
Oh,
Eggs
they're
are
so much
eggs are
better.
much better. Yeah,
Bugs.
they're much better for you and everything too.
And
A lot of
they taste better.
they taste better, and a lot of farm raised meats and stuff like that. It's a lot higher in vitamin B too, and that's your energy vitamin there. You know,
Super
that's
important.
yep.
You think
That's
the
That's why-
Velociraptor turned into a vegetarian?
I don't think so.
Right.
I
Not
don't
a
think so,
chance.
bro.
Not
I
a
Give him
think
a
so.
beak instead of teeth. He'll still eat meat.
That's right.
I just because I've wondered this for a while, and you guys are in this field, and you and I talk about interesting shit all the time. What like, and you just said it a minute ago, right? Like the reason they do all this is because, to be honest, there's a lot of people, and they know they can do it because nobody. I shouldn't say nobody. There's a large percentage of America that's not gonna stop.
Mhm.
And they're busy. They're man, I don't care. I'm gonna go get my McDonald's
Right.
burger. I gotta go get my
Right.
daughter from this, and I don't have time to worry about. And it's crazy, right? To me, it's like how do we like move? How do you even get better from that? Like, is it just you take like legislation and somebody goes no more serving this shit, or
It's tricky because
or how do they even supply us? I guess is my question.
Revolution.
exactly
You know, like
down
how
with the man.
because
I mean, we
we
had
can
this-
talk trash, right?
Yeah,
Sorry,
right.
not to interrupt you,
No,
but
no.
we can say we hate the way it is, and I do too, and we can say Tyson this, Tyson that. But like, what is the solution for them when there's so many people?
The big thing that the government could do if they really, really wanted to help the situation, which, let's be real, they don't, because America is
100%.
run by corporations. Corporations driven by profit. Profit is driven by lowering costs. Lowering costs
it
is driven
feeds
by
back
pumping
to
fat
them.
into your burger. So it's gonna happen. But so the biggest thing that they could do is make these companies label this stuff for what it is. So and we just had this conversation not too long ago. There's definitely a place for meatless meat, veggie, plant-based meat, whatever. There's definitely a place for it because the world population is constantly growing. There's no way that we can raise enough livestock as human beings to feed all of these people.
Especially ethically. That's
A
the
lot-
other-
yes.
that's
See,
the
that's
big
what I'm
thing.
Yep.
wondering. How could Tyson
lot-
even do this?
A lot of these a lot of countries across the world, they're becoming more developed. They're getting a taste for beef, ribeye. Over in Japan, beef demand has raised by like 300% in the last
Thanks,
10
Wagyu.
years. Yeah, Wagyu beef from Japan. That's so there's definitely a place like you said, McDonald's. I just need something quick. I don't have time to go get a ribeye. I just need, everybody knows McDonald's is bad for you. Everybody knows it. But you pass a McDonald's and there's a line a mile long and you're at the end of it. And you're like, what am I doing here again? It's bad for you, but
That food
yeah.
will
It's
sit
that-
there for the
oh.
next
Yep.
30 years
Right.
if you don't touch it.
It's
But-
that sugar that keeps
Exactly.
bringing you back.
yeah, it's crazy, man. But the biggest thing that the government could do is make these companies some kind of badge or something like that. This product is genetically modified. This product is however you want to put it.
Source of origin would
Source
be
of
nice.
origin,
That would
yep.
be first
Yeah.
things first. That would be nice. Was it a product of the U.S.?
Mm-hmm.
Is it being shipped in from another country? What
Mhm.
country is it coming from? Was it raised in that country? Was it processed in this country? Like they're really tricky about
Mm-hmm.
how they do those things. And with us, like we can trace back where the animal was born and everything that it was fed. They can't even trace it back to what town it came
I've
from,
heard
what
that
state it came
most
from.
of our beef
That's
is coming
wild.
from out of
That's
the
sick.
country.
A
It
lot of
is,
the
yeah.
beef
That's
comes
honestly
from,
sick because if you don't know the process and you don't know
right.
the details and you're just accepting it and slapping a label on it and saying,
And think about that. If it's not coming if it's coming from out of country, think about how long It's gonna
Oh yeah,
be
for sure.
And you think it has any nutritional value? Like I start to wonder, like, is the protein even the protein you
Yeah.
put on the freaking label?
cracks
Because
me
that shit
up.
just sat.
I one time had a customer tell me flat out that she was not going to purchase meat from me because she doesn't buy frozen meat. And I didn't really know how to take it at first. It was really early on when we first started selling. And so I was really taken back by it. And
I think she was kind of I think she was kind of looking for the like butcher shop experience where you go in and you want a T-bone and then they slap it on the
Cut it
thing
right
and they give it to you and
I delivered meat and items to her when I worked for Shipped. I know what that woman was buying. Let's just be real now, okay? And
we all do it.
she was buying those what is that grass-fed brand Pre?
Yeah.
Comes in a
PRE.
strap.
Yes.
Yeah.
She was buying steaks with those. Now, if you don't think that that was frozen and thought out,
For sure.
I don't know where your head's at. You
For
know, so I
sure.
had a nice little laugh moment at that because people think they're educated and they're not, and that's why you need to shop at a local farm. It might not be us. I hope it is, obviously, but you should be shopping for your proteins and your vegetables from local sources.
Mhm.
And I've tried to, Meg and I have talked about that. I've tried to kind of tell people that too. Like you just named the farm out in Dundee. I forget the name off.
Bless her.
Glesser, shout out again. But
Hey.
go get your chicken from them.
Yep.
Go get your beef from you guys. Go get your veggies from the farmers market.
We actually just
You
partnered
know.
up with S&S Produce.
Yep.
They
Okay.
offer
Milan, yeah.
So they offer summer CSAs. They're out of Milan, Michigan. Hey, what's up, guys? And they're going to add a protein option to their CSAs, so their customers will be able to add on different options for.
Mhm.
We haven't, I believe, ground beef, and some different ground pork options as well. So still to come on the details of all that, but
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
we
Yeah,
love
that's
working
incredible.
with these local
Yeah.
people. It's great. It's great
And
for us, and it's great for them.
We just started something similar too. We started doing subscription boxes a few months ago.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
Wow.
kind of like you get from Butcher Box or
That's a
or,
good
or
deal,
whatever,
yeah.
and it's hand delivered by one of us.
Got to
There you go.
evolve. Yeah.
And it's authentic, yeah.
Or Ashton.
Or Ashton.
He loves to do that on snow days.
Yeah.
Authentic. I love that.
Yeah, for sure.
So, a lot of people might say that cattle farms, what do they say, that they're very pollutant,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Okay.
That's what they say.
Mhm.
That the cow farms are the reason why the ozone layer is where it's at. What do you have to say to that?
So I'll say this: farming and cattle ranching and everything in general, bad for the environment. It is. It's not good for the environment. But it depends on how you look at it. If you look at it like a big picture kind of a thing, a farm like us is going to produce less pollutants than someone that's doing it on an extremely large scale.
Right. That's what I was just
Yep.
gonna think.
Sometimes it's not with a problem, especially like climate change and stuff like that. It's not about eliminating certain things. It's about minimizing them as much as we can. And we have one of the tractors that we have that we do most of the work with on the property. It takes DEF fluid. So basically it takes that diesel exhaust and it scrubs it and it reuses it in the engine, so you're putting less exhaust into the air, and so
And it was made in a zero emissions.
it was made in
factory.
a zero emissions plant. Yep.
Very deep.
Ordered it on Earth Day, actually.
Yeah,
I
we
was
did
feeling
order
a
on Earth
little,
Day, yeah.
feeling a little
Yeah.
good about it.
But I mean, so and you have to look, it's a cost benefit analysis at the end of the day, Yeah, are we contributing to climate change? Yeah, but so are you by sitting here breathing and just producing carbon dioxide. I mean, it's all about your carbon footprint and making it as small as possible.
Yes.
And I think we do a pretty decent job at doing that.
That's what's next. They're gonna tell us the glaciers are melting because of the farms and the cows.
Well, you know what? I will. So we have 3 different water sources that run through our property.
Yep.
Being that it's 1.5 miles, we have the river, which our cattle don't have access to. The road blocks it off, and we don't put them on that side. We have what's the other run?
The Mason Run.
Is it the Mason Run? That runs through our property, and it's interesting to see in the springtime all the pollutants that run through there from all the different applications being put on by all the different farms that are grain farmers and
All the runoff.
yeah, yep. Because that's something that we don't use on the property, so you can definitely see the difference in the water quality from the beginning of the spring until
Right.
the summer. It definitely changes quite a bit.
But you can't really do anything, right?
It's-
Unless you're just going to go
it's-
lab grown food. You
Yeah,
can't.
exactly.
Yeah, no,
There's
you can't.
nothing you can
It's one
literally
of those
do to avoid
necessary
it, right?
things, you know, it's either
Grow food for yourself.
yeah, I mean it's either we contribute a little bit to the overall climate in a negative or positive way, or people don't eat. I mean, people got to eat. I mean, it's just one of those things. It's how life is, you know. It's just one of those things. There's certain things that you can do to minimize it, and there's certain practices that we use. So like we use all of our manure that we get, all of our cow shit that we collect. I just cleaned a bunch of it out today too. We use that, and yeah, we use that. Oh man, I was
It's
covered.
ripe.
She saw me when I came in. I was covered in
Mm.
shit, and I'm like, oh man. Super fun though. But so we use all of that and we apply that to a lot of our fields with a manure spreader, and that's natural nitrogen. So that in that way you're using less nitrogen.
You're not having to
Nitrogen.
put synthetic.
Yep, you're not having to put
Chemicals in.
synthetic chemicals on there, you know, and the production of fertilizer in general, that's not good for the environment either, you know. So anything that you can do to reduce the use of that stuff is always good. But
So I got a little bit of a conspiracy
bring it.
question.
Ooh,
Bring it
throw it
on.
at us.
So while we were all in lockdown,
Uh-huh.
hundreds of farms went up, caught on fire just miraculously, right?
Uh-huh.
You've obviously you heard that.
Yeah. Big one in Texas.
You got a take?
So
Why then?
Yeah.
And why so many?
So a lot of the time, those operations that do catch fire, a lot of them are dairy operations, and there's a lot of hazardous and very volatile chemicals and just things involved with that process. You know,
A lot
so
of electricity.
a lot of
too.
electricity, heat lamps, all of that stuff. You know, so dairy cattle, their manure is a lot higher in nitrogen too. So, you know, there's fires can occur spontaneously and everything like that. I don't know. I mean, it's go down the conspiracy rabbit hole if you want. You know, I mean, it's there. Who knows?
And there was
man?
there was a lot of people that had a lot of time on their hands too, and I know that.
Yeah. A lot of people got radicalized during COVID.
PETA,
And
They did.
you know,
yeah,
I know firsthand, off subject a little bit, but I was in 4-H when I was a kid, and you know, I advocate for 4-H because I think it's really good for children.
Okay.
I am not a fan of tying an animal up to a fence post for a week. So that's just not something that we want to do.
yeah.
But when I was a kid, there was PETA that came into the Monroe County Fair and let like 5 or 6 animals loose, specifically cattle. Yes. This was probably back, I think, in the late 90s. And yeah, they had to like close gates down to keep them. No, like they were ready to go.
Eco-terrorists.
And I'm not saying that they had anything to do with it, you know, to try to, you know, push it one way or the other. But there was definitely a lot of animals that were lost in vain during that
Yeah.
time. There was also a lot of farms that couldn't push animals because a lot of these processors were not operating, and they had farms that were euthanizing animals, specifically hogs, because they
pigs,
couldn't
yeah.
take them to market.
Yep, they'd get
They-
too big, or you know, they didn't have the slaughterhouses weren't working at capacity. They didn't have the number of employees they needed, and you know, you have all these animals in a lot of places. Yeah, they were put them down, and you can, as morbid as it is, you can use loss of your animals. I mean, that's a tax write-off.
It is a tax write-off.
Yeah,
and the
that's-
USDA is
that's
always
how-
giving out
That's
farmer welfare, as I like to call it.
that's how a lot of those companies look at it. They're assets. They're not
So
animals. They're-
Sadly, a lot of them companies don't give a damn about how they get treated and if something happens, because
No.
I'll just write that shit off.
Yeah.
Factory farming is not the right way, and that's what was happening with those fires. Is it was factory farming that
Yeah.
was going out. Some dairy operations have upwards of 5,000 cattle that are in barns.
Whoa.
They might have a little bit of an area where they can go out in the daylight and stuff,
That's
but
what
most
it
of it's
was.
inside.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been,
Yeah.
eco terrorists. It could have been people trying to pull an insurance job or something like that. During COVID, like I said, we all got locked in, and luckily with us, we were trapped at the farm, which meant we were working all the time.
Yeah.
You know, like
it was a normal
but-
day for
but
us.
you watch, like we were talking about earlier, you watch one video on YouTube and then the next thing you know, birds aren't real. So and then you just gotta watch it. We I'm sure we all know completely sane, rational people that just fucking lost it during COVID. You talk to them and you're like,
Some of them never came back.
Yeah.
some of
I
them
was just
never
about to
came
say
back.
that.
Some of them never came out of the black hole and they're still down there, so
It
Sad.
changed the world and it changed people.
It did.
I wouldn't be
Mhm.
surprised though too if it was like and this is just my opinion and maybe I'm shitting on them too hard, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was like, hey, things are kind of quiet. PETA can raise a little hell with some of these stories and some of these things, and who knows? But
Possibilities
Yeah.
endless, guys.
yeah, who knows? And that's
I didn't even know that was happening during COVID. That's crazy
Yeah,
that
there
you
was a
said that.
lot.
I was like,
There's a
no
lot. I'm
shit.
talking
Yeah.
like thousands.
Yeah.
it was
Yeah,
it was
dude.
yeah it was it,
The
there, it
other
was
day, 17 fucking farms went up.
So conspiracy theorist me over here. I'm like, is this the train
I
derailment
think
thing?
she's on to
Stanley
something.
Kubrick. He's
Yeah,
at
I
it
mean, there's
again.
so many different.
They
This
needed
is,
them to be killed because there wasn't the slaughterhouses open.
I mean, it was a real thing. That was one of the
That's
reasons.
scary. That
So-
what you guys just said is actually that's a scary thought.
You can look it up. It's public knowledge that
Mm-hmm.
farms were euthanizing perfectly good animals because they didn't have anywhere to take them to be processed. When you're raising for Tyson or Bob Evans, there's a Bob Evans processing plant not too far from
Where we go.
Coldwater, I
And-
think in the Coldwater area.
and a Tyson.
And there's tons of Tyson. You're talking probably hundreds of hogs that are being raised in these buildings that are going off to market.
What
This
you
little
just
piggy went to
said,
the market, right?
you just said one sentence that like everybody listening should be worried about. These animals raised in the building.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that
right.
right there
True.
is like the animals raised in the
In the
building.
building.
When I grew up and I learned things, animals grew up outside.
They
Yes.
do, yeah. And
That's crazy.
so there's a lot of times where we'll post pictures and videos of our animals, and people out of concern or what
tread
have you,
lightly.
Oh yeah, they'll
they-
attack.
oh, it'd be like, oh, those poor animals! I can't
Uh-huh.
believe you're making them stand outside in the mud and the snow and everything. And but cut to behind us where you can't see. There's a building with straw, and they're like, no, man, fuck your building. I want to stand out here in the snow. I'm standing
They're
right here.
animals,
Yeah,
right?
I'm
Like-
standing right here in this mud pit, and there ain't a goddamn thing you're gonna do
They're
about it.
animals. At the end of the day, they're not humans. We have desensitized because we have little couch animals that sit on our lap that we pet
Yeah.
every single night.
Yeah,
Like we look at these animals as humans, and we have these emotions for them that are as humans, and they're not humans at the end of the day. They're animals. You have to
Yeah.
be compassionate with them. You're not going to yell at them, but you also have to remember that they're animals.
Like this dude, like he said, this dude loves the mud. It's
yeah,
okay.
he loves the mud. Yeah, and a lot of it is social media. With influencers and stuff like that. People will get on and see reels of like these really fancy like British white baby calves. And they're nice
Highlanders.
white coats and everything. They're all fluffy and they got a bow in their hair. And here's ours. He's rolling in the mud and eating. Drinking out of shit water and just
That's their favorite.
Authentic.
But you
Yeah.
know what? Those animals, how they get those fluffy little coats? They get brushed every day and they live in air conditioning.
Yeah, they do. They do. Yeah,
That's how their
yep.
coats grow.
Yep.
That's
Wow.
that's not how animals are supposed to live.
Yeah,
man.
no,
That's-
They have to be cold in order for it to grow.
Yes.
Our animals go on adventures, man.
I'm not shocked that people.
Yeah.
Yeah, into our neighbor's field, and then we have to chase them back to ours.
Yeah, they're living their best life out there, man. It's crazy.
Sorry, Wyatt.
Especially sometimes in the summer, in the winter time, they're close to the house. I usually lock them in the front pasture, which is about 20 acres. so we can keep an eye on them. We can see them from the house. We can make sure nobody's straying in the middle of a snowstorm to go have a calf somewhere stupid, because they do that. But in the summertime, we open everything up and they're gone. There's a there's a basically it's a big hole in the ground in the one of the sections of pasture that we have, and there's a tile that runs under it, and the tile has a hole in it and it leaks. But we just let it leak because that hole fills up with water every time it rains. Yep. So they'll go out there
Natural
and
spring.
and they'll drink out of that water hole and eat grass and everything. And in the summertime, they'll disappear for 3 weeks. I mean, they'll be
We
gone.
check on them. We know where they're at.
We'll go back there and we'll go back there and check on them every once in a while. But they don't need any food. They don't need any water. They're like, we're good, bro. We're still here.
Living my best life.
We're all
out
here. I just go back there, make sure everything's all good. Nobody's out. Nobody had a calf.
That's the big thing. Walking back and be like, hey, what's that? Oh, there's a baby.
Yeah.
Or two.
Yeah.
So last year in the springtime,
birth to babies.
yeah,
I'd say there's probably 2 or 3 a year that we have to get in there and yank them out. But for the most part, I mean, they have them on their own, and a lot of the cows that we have been with us for a long time. So this is they're like, cool. This is once a year something comes out of me, and then it's all good.
I want to lick it.
Yeah, exactly. I take
love
care
you.
of it, and then another one comes, and then they can handle. I mean, you'd be surprised at what animals just know. It's just
I
instinct.
think
They're
it's just
smarter than we
instinct to
think.
Yes.
eat and screw and
It is.
and all that stuff.
They just know.
I mean, if you really want to see what nature's like, go see what a cow is doing, because that is probably the most natural thing you'll ever see.
That's what they do, man.
Those babies will be nursing, and those mama cows will shit on top of them.
Oh, yeah, they will.
Don't care.
Poor little babies.
They don't care.
I bet some of those situations though are like so intense. Some of the stuff. I mean, I've seen the videos and I'm like, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I respect it. I love it. I love coaching football. I'm gonna stay where I'm at. But I watch it and I'm like, I would be losing my shit right now.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes. So there was, so last year there was a cow that we had, and I saw her laying in the pasture, and I went and checked on her, and I'm walking up. I'm like, she's dead. She looks dead. She's dead. So I'm expecting her to be dead, which happens every once in a great while. One of the animals will die.
That's the real life of raising animals.
Happens with humans.
Yeah,
Perfectly
exactly.
healthy humans will just drop over dead sometimes. Sometimes it happens. Walked up to her, and she's still alive, barely. So I'm like, oh my God. So, I got Caitlin, I got one of our employees. We went out there, and, she was right in the process of having a calf. We birthed the calf. We got her up. We got her in a pen and separated her, and then we nursed her back to health and got her back on her feet. And, you'd be shocked at what those animals can take, and then just,
we live. A lot of people watch Dr. Pol, obviously, especially in this area. I feel like he's really exactly. Everybody loves that, and we pretty much live that. We have a local vet that helps us with a lot of things, but he teaches us while he's there. So there's so many things that Kevin and I have done ourselves that we haven't had to bring a vet over, just because we have the knowledge to be able to do it, and that's something where I'm so thankful for, because you don't get that in a corporate job anywhere. It's real life experiences that most people will never ever have.
You trim their hooves?
Heck no.
No.
So
here we go with the hoof trimming again.
do you know why they have to have their hooves trimmed?
Do you film it while you do it?
He's like, can you shoot me the
Can you
video
show me?
next time you do it?
I'm coming over. We're filming it.
It's mostly dairy cows,
man,
and they
that's
live
funny.
on cement.
Okay.
So our
Yeah.
guys are constantly roaming around, so it's just getting beaten down as they walk. Depending, sometimes they'll walk a mile a day.
I'd
if
get
not
kicked
more
right in
than
the
that.
face if I tried to trim one of their hooves. They'd be like, man, what the fuck are you doing?
No, I'm not.
Get out of here. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, there's some feisty ones out there too.
It does not feel good to get kicked by a cow
No,
either. Let me
heck
tell
no.
you that.
You guys, this is something I wanted to ask in the back room earlier. I forgot, but you guys, do you guys like talk, learn, work with any farms, kind of out of Michigan or even up north or anything like that? Do you guys kind of get insight, how you guys doing things, or, do you guys have any friends in this field or anything like that? Or you
What?
guys
Yeah,
kinda-
so yes and no. It kind of depends on.
It's lonely out here.
Yeah. So it just kind of depends on who they are, how comfortable they are with you, because a lot of people in this field are kind of secretive about what they do. They don't necessarily want you to pick up on what they're doing. That happens a lot until you get into their circle, and then they're like, oh, okay, well, come on in, let me show you what's going on here. Like,
I follow the calf vet out of Ohio.
Mhm.
She is a veterinarian for calves and cows and all that stuff. And she went to Michigan State. She's my age. They run an operation. They don't sell meat directly, but they raise British white cattle. I like what they do. We don't really have anybody that we can really confide in. We've kind
Only
of
reason I asked is I just wondered, are there a lot of you in Texas or
Yes.
Ohio or Indiana?
So-
is there a lot of people, if somebody that listens to this and they're not
Yeah.
from Monroe? Because we do get listeners, how common is it, or are, some places just stuck with Tyson?
in this area in Monroe, there's a handful of us that are doing what we do, and they're
similar. What?
similar.
Let's
Yeah.
be real.
No, I mean there's operations around here that raise animals and they sell animals in kind of the way that we do, and there's definitely options around here. They are kind of limited, and you do have to kind of seek it out. It's not really anything you're going to stumble upon. You might, but sometimes you got to seek it out, and you got to take a drive to somewhere that you might not necessarily go all the time.
Oh yeah.
But if you drive, 2 hours west of here, you start getting into Jackson County and everything like that. Livestock and agriculture in general is huge out there. Lenawee County, all that stuff. I mean, you could throw a football in Lenawee County and hit a cow. They're all over the place out there. But I mean, options are a little limited here, and that's kind of where we come in, because we offer both sides of the retail experience with meat. So you can get a steak. Like if you just want to pick up a steak on the way home for dinner, you can do that, just like one steak. But if you want to get like a side of beef from us, we can do that too, or half a hog or a whole hog. Or
If I come get a ribeye, one ribeye from you today, how much is it?
Depends on the weight. So and here's the thing, we have a little bit of everything. So
Mhm.
like ribeye, is that your steak that you usually like the most, or was that just the one you
It's
chose?
just the one that
I like
I know
ribeye.
I like it when it's
ribeye is a
cooked right.
solid cut.
So ribeye is so versatile. So not only do we have ribeyes, but we have the Delmonico ribeyes, which are like a thicker cut.
Give me that one.
We have a bone-in rib steak, which has all the fat and the bone on it.
Mhm.
We have the tomahawks, if you're feeling real fancy.
Got the
When I
big,
moved to
the
Toledo,
big old
the
rib
Kroger
bone on
had
there.
tomahawks, and
Yeah.
that's the
Because
first time I've
everybody
ever
wants
seen
one
it.
now.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I never had one, but I feel like anybody who eats a tomahawk steak is a
I've
real
cooked a few.
motherfucker for real.
It's
I'm like, you a real one, you eating a
It's
tomahawk
experience,
steak.
experience. It
right?
really is.
It
Yeah, it's not. It's a different approach to cooking, and that's one thing too. We both love to cook. We both love to bake. We both
our
love
thing.
to. I mean, we'll just when it's
Dinners be
just.
slapping at their house.
Oh, dude, it really is. It really is.
Oh,
We
homemade
make.
sourdough. It's like steak, and he's Sicilian, so
Oh yeah, I got all the
off
old
the
world
charts with
pizza
that.
dough recipes and all
Oh.
that stuff. And it's awesome.
Sampler Saturdays at the farm, guys.
Yeah,
Don't forget
we
that.
started doing samplers at the farm. I made some smoked mushroom Swiss beef brats last time, and we gave out samples. So we're gonna start doing that every Saturday. Every Saturday, it's gonna be something different. It was pork. It was beef last time. It might be pork. It might be.
Thinking maybe
chicken
some
and-
breakfast maple links.
Yeah.
Maybe get some little testers. Those are delicious, and they're a huge
Mhm.
seller.
Yep, they are for sure. Yeah, those are
I
delicious.
like maple links.
Oh man, they're so good. Yeah, they come in a pack of 10. They're about like that
Oh,
big
they're
each.
big.
and-
They're meaty.
So if somebody now, and not to like be exact, but kind of piggybacking off of what Josh just asked, if somebody that's used to
Just kidding.
somebody that's used to going to the store every day and buying their meat, are they going to see like a huge jump in price if they come to you? Or are they going to see a huge decrease? Like, what are they going to see? Now, granted, for the listener, obviously, quality is you get what
Yeah.
you pay for in life, right? You buy a $20 pair of shoes,
Right.
they're going to fall apart.
I mean, we're not the
They're
cheap
shafts.
option for sure. We're not.
and we're not for everybody.
No.
You know, I that's the
True.
one thing that I always, we kind of got some flack about our marketing from a business, and he kind of was like, provisions, like most people don't know what that means, and I'm like, well, we're not for everybody, you know, that's okay with me, because you're not going to find this quality of meat just anywhere, and we only can produce so much of it.
Yeah.
Also, like, that's the other
Right.
thing, it takes a while to get an animal to market, and we raise them from birth all the way up. So
Yeah,
What's
there's-
that process? How long does that take?
about 18 to 20 months. Is that
yeah,
about
about
the bottom line
about
right now?
18 to 20 months. The way the feed program we have them on right now, they're usually ready to go about 18 months. And we take them, you're supposed to grade these cattle, you know, in your head. You're supposed to give them a grade as far as body scale goes, you know, as far as how fat they are and everything like that, on a scale of 1 to 10. You
They
want
got that big old brisket.
Yeah, the brisket, the tail, they'll start to get like fat ripples around the tail
Big
when they're
old
ready to
rump.
go. The brisket will get real heavy and hangy, and it's after a while you can just look at one, and I can usually look at, and I do it all the time. I can usually look at a cow, heifer, bull, whatever, and I'll look at them and be like about 1250, and then it'll go to the chute, and I'm usually like, you know, 50, 100 pounds, you know. You can tell, you know, you want to grade them on a 1 through 10 scale, and you want to take them when they're about a 7 or 8, because if you let them get too fat, the meat's going to be real fatty, and it's not going to be the same experience. But as far as the price goes, there's a little bit of a price jump that you'll see from us to from a grocery store to us. But so if you go to a grocery store and you look at New York strip, they're selling a 10-ounce New York strip, you know, and it'll be $14.99. I'm like, sweet, a New York strip for $14.99, awesome. It's 10 ounces. So if you take that price and then you figure out what the price is per pound for that New York strip, you're paying more at the grocery store than you are for a New York strip from us at the end of the day.
Something that's similar quality.
Something
Yeah,
something
absolutely.
that is similar quality to us, not store brand or whatever. If you go for like a nice, you know, naturally raised or organic steak in the grocery store,
Grass fed.
Yeah.
Not a Meyer brand.
exactly, yeah. So you buy it and you're like, cool, this was a good price, but it's not a full pound, and you have to figure out in your head what the price is per pound, because at the end of the day, really, we're not that far off from the grocery store that you would go to. We're a little bit more, but at the end of the day, it's about how you eat. Do you want to eat high quality stuff all the time, or are you okay with buying stuff from the grocery store every once in a while, going through the McDonald's line? You know,
Right.
I mean, we're all cool with it, you know, and you know, maybe you're not going to eat an organic or ethically raised steak every single night of the week, but when you want it good, you know.
You could eat organically, responsibly raised ground beef
You could.
on the other nights, though.
You could.
You could, for sure.
Or
I'm just
organically,
messing.
or
You know,
sure,
when-
though,
so
no,
back to the
organically
price.
raised
So if
sausages.
you're talking about with us, if you're coming in and buying individual cuts of meat, then yeah, we're a little bit more expensive, but we offer bulk. You can buy a quarter or a half with us, and that equals out to about $7 to $7.50 a pound. And that's for steaks, that's for ground beef, that's for roast, that's for your high-end cut meats. So if you have the storage, it might not be that more expensive.
Mhm.
Right.
It's just, and then you always have it on hand.
Yeah, and honestly, and I can say this from firsthand experience, watching our customers over the years, those people that we met at the farmers market that buy from us over and over and over and over again. We'll see people come in and buy from us the first time, and they'll be like, ribeye, what is that? What's a flank steak? What's an English roast? What do I do with this? They have no idea. But then over the years, that same guy's going to come in 2 years from now and be like, yeah, I want a brisket, and I'm going to get a flank steak. I'm going to make some deconstructed blah 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 blah. Like, yeah, we turn people into foodies. That's what we do. You know, you're going
I
to
do
get
post a lot of
Yeah.
recipes, and I think the biggest one, I think the number one is the short ribs. The
It's
one thing
delicious.
that nobody really knows what to do with
Mhm.
is probably one of the most underrated cuts that we have.
Yeah, and you know, it's just like when you buy something high quality like that, and you start, you're starting here. It's not like something from the grocery store that's mass manufactured, and you're starting here, and you're gonna have to, you know, pull off some Bobby Flay magic to be up here.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to change the way that you cook and your cooking experience and the people that you cook for too, if you like I like that feeling. I like making something for somebody and setting it in front of them and then being like, this is awesome. That's the way to do it. Start with something good, man. Start with something
I think it
good.
tastes better too when it's made
Yeah.
with that love,
Yeah,
right?
for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Usually does. Unless
Right?
you're trash.
Unless you're
You burn the shit out of it.
cooking.
Yeah,
Unless you're trash at cooking. Yeah,
And
that-
let me
all the
just
love
say
you
this,
want.
coming
Yep.
from a farm/rancher, we did not raise that cattle for you to eat it. Well done, guys. That is not how you eat a steak.
I swear to God,
Or
if I see
ketchup.
anybody putting ketchup on one of our
Or
steaks.
A1.
Ooh, I'm
Please
just
no.
kidding. I'm just kidding. Eat however you want. Eat wherever you want.
But
I
don't.
Put ketchup
But
on
don't
your
put ketchup
steak.
on a steak. For the love of God.
Garlic butter.
We're not
and
animals.
cheese.
My God. What's that?
Yes.
Garlic butter and that gorgonzola cheese. stuff.
Yes. Yes.
So I've recently discovered that I use like a horseradish sauce.
I love that.
With
and
steak.
I love
very good
horseradish.
with steak, especially like a fillet or a ribeye.
Mhm.
Just it's perfect.
See,
It
I've
melts
never
on there
been
perfectly.
anything. I don't want anything but just mushrooms. Just
Okay.
throw me some cooked mushrooms
Mushrooms.
on top
Flavor.
of it and a little
Yep.
bit of onion, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm good after that. Everybody's like A1 and this and that. I'm like,
Yeah,
I
man.
will say I
Mushrooms,
like the
onions.
taste of A1, but I do not use it on my steaks.
Okay.
If I'm using A1, I wanted the taste at A1 and I'm putting it on a
You like
couple
the
pieces,
A1.
Or it's a bad
or
steak.
you got a bad
It's a
steak.
bad-
It's a
I
bad
was gonna
steak.
say you use sauces typically heavy to cover up the shitty
I've
taste
tried
of whatever
Yeah.
food
I've
you're
tried
eating.
to steak with like tomatoes and stuff on top
Oh,
of
I
it. They
can't do
brought
that.
it
That's doing too
Yeah.
much.
too
I can't do
much.
that.
I
Yeah.
scraped it all off.
Yeah, you know when you go to a restaurant and you sit down and the waitress comes over and before she even takes your drinks, she puts the A1 bottle on the table.
Oh.
You know you're screwed. You know you're screwed. You're like, man, this is gonna suck. But
This steak's gonna be dry
I
no
think
matter
I'm
what.
gonna get the fish.
I seen a place in Texas. I haven't been there yet. We're going to Texas this year, and
Nice.
hopefully we're going to stop there. They sell a beef rib, just the whole rib, like you would get just one rib,
Yep.
and they make a big deal out of it. Can I come get one of them at your place?
So are you talking like one singular rib bone or like a rack of ribs that you'd
I think
like a
it was
pork?
just one bone, but I'm assuming that comes in a rack.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah.
Are
but
you talking?
they're like, oh, they're beef rib.
Yeah, because you can do you know how you would make like a slab of pork ribs, you
Yep.
know how it's just a big slab. You can get those back for beef too. They're going to be quite a bit bigger, you know. But yeah, that's probably what it was, is a whole rack of beef ribs, and then they cooked it and sliced it up. Or
That's
So
probably their thing.
Which tastes better? Obviously, probably the pig, because or is that just the most popular way?
depends on your taste, because the beef ribs are going to be a little less fatty than pork ribs are going to be. It's gonna be different.
Ones are less fat.
Yeah, it's gonna be different
I
texture
like beef
too.
bacon better than pork bacon.
Beef bacon's
Ooh,
delicious.
so we just started
I've
getting.
never had beef.
So it's
Sliced
it's the
brisket.
brisket.
It's delicious. Dude.
It's delicious. That
Really?
so our
I'd rather eat
processor.
that than brisket.
Never heard of that.
So
good.
our processor does everything in house there, and they use a it's a hickory smoked, and oh my god, it's so good.
Yes.
It's that perfect taste. And so we just got it. I want to say like 3-4 weeks ago. We started turning the brisket into bacon. I think it might be my favorite right now.
It's really good.
For sure.
It's so
It's
good.
really good. And there's certain cuts that we have, particularly with a lot of the pork that is smoked at our processor. And they, like Caitlin said, they smoke on Tuesdays, and I love when I get to go there on Tuesdays to pick stuff up, because you step out of the car and you're like, you smell just hickory and mesquite, and
My feet are off the ground. I'm just sniffing away.
Yeah.
Like, take me there.
and they do all the sausage, like the ground sausage that we have, the brats, the smoked hams, everything. They do all that stuff in small batches. Number one, because they're a small business and they don't have like a huge giant industrial smoker, but it's 50 pounds or less.
25.
25.
Actually,
Did they start doing 25?
I spoke with her yesterday. It is 25-pound increments
Yep.
that they do. So, I mean, you could do a 50,
Mhm.
but 25 is the minimum that they
Yep.
do. So,
And the benefit of that, and the benefit of that for them is they can use natural ingredients. You're not using like vegetable substitute or
You're
fruit.
not losing quality of your product.
Yeah, 'cause
fillers.
with fillers or like natural flavors.
Yeah.
You know, like
Beaver butthole.
yeah, yeah. no, man, that's hardwood hickory smoked flavor. That's not beaver, asshole.
So funny. I remember I fell down a wormhole about food additives and like the trickery and the words.
Scary.
I want to say it was in college, so it was like 2012. I want to say it was you. I'm kind of old.
Oh no! I didn't say. I'm curious what it looked like then, though.
Yeah.
Even years ago, how bad it was.
Terrifying. It was terrifying, and I remember I'll never ever forget when I told my son that beaver pee was an artificial. It was an artificial vanilla,
Yeah.
is what it is. And
It's beaver butthole gland.
it is.
Yes.
It's a real thing.
Yes.
Don't buy imitation vanilla. It's not worth it.
You love butthole.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a certain gland that beavers there's this liquid that comes from the gland
It's a whole
of a
thing.
beaver. It's one of the anal glands.
Don't Google
It's
it.
not as widely used as it used to be. But it is out there, and the exact name of it's not called, like beaver piss or whatever. They're not gonna put that on the back of the thing. There's
They got a term for it.
Oh
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. They
Something real vanilla.
they took
No pun
It's
intended,
called
guys.
Natural flavoring.
they
Natural vanilla
they
flavor.
took beaver piss and put one of those tuxedo t-shirts on it,
Yeah.
and then shoved it back out there, and it's like, no, that's not beaver piss
It's good
at
for
all.
you. It's pretty.
That is that's weird. That's like
Gross.
the what is it I heard that was in what pop was it? Mountain Dew. They said that there was like shit that they used in the weed killer spray that they also put in Mountain Dew.
I
Starts
believe
with
I
that.
forget what it
Starts
was,
with a
but
B.
I
know that.
read that
Yeah.
too, or like that red dye 40 and your
Yeah.
Skittles and shit.
Yeah.
I would have been interested to see for real, like what doing that research in 2012 looked like, and because even like now it's so bad. I'm like, was it always bad? And do I even know the surface of
It's
how
not.
bad it actually
No,
is?
Yeah, it has.
Like, do I
been,
even know
yeah.
the surface?
It's been bad for a while, and back then, just I think more or less like people having cameras in their pockets all the time is really exposed how bad things really are. Yeah, it's interesting too that we're one of the only countries that allows all of this
Pharmaceutical?
shit, if you will, crap in our food. All the
I thought we were
pharmaceuticals.
going down the pharmaceutical
that too.
path.
It's a
Yeah.
whole thing.
Reason.
Well,
They're the ones
we're-
that run and own
So
everything.
Two countries in the world can advertise pharmaceuticals, and of course, the United States is one of them. I think that has a
Exactly.
lot to do with our food. It's all one big.
Oh yeah.
Probably getting canceled after
Well,
this
that's
show.
why I was-
but-
Yeah,
I
some
was
government
gonna-
agents out there sitting in an office like, well, okay,
It's
yeah,
not, it's
yep.
not the government. It's I have it right here. It is Bill Gates in China.
That's fact.
You guys want to go down a wormhole?
Oh yeah.
We probably don't have time to go down this one, but you should do the research on the FDA versus the USDA in the food system because it's pretty
Oh.
weird.
It's pretty bad. So one example, one very confusing
I'm on it
example.
tonight.
So the FDA is responsible for regulating pretty much anything that's not meat related. So cheese, for example.
Veggies.
So if you have like a frozen pizza in the grocery store, that pizza is inspected and regulated by the FDA. But you slap pepperoni on that pizza, and now that pizza has to be inspected and regulated by the USDA.
Okay.
So that's super confusing. And so there's the USDA and the FDA both get, it's basically one big umbrella, and they get the same amount of funding. They get one lump sum that is to be divided between the USDA and the FDA. And most of it goes to the USDA. That's the big one.
The FDA is the ugly stepchild.
Yep.
They don't get anything. And
Yes.
they're also the ones that are running probably some of the most important things because what do they always have recalls on in the grocery store? Like
leafy greens.
leafy
always
greens.
salad.
Leafy
Yeah,
green-
it's
yep.
always
Leafy
salad
Leafy
too.
greens. There was
That's
there
FDA.
was an interview with a guy I was listening to, and he was a scientist, and he was basically saying that if you go to McDonald's and you get a hamburger and you get food poisoning, most likely that food poisoning didn't come from the hamburger. It came from either the lettuce, the tomato, or the onion.
I don't get lettuce.
Yeah. So leafy
Lettuce, it
greens.
happens a lot. Lettuce.
Leafy greens all fall under the purview of the USDA. And so for all of the leafy green farms that are out there, do you know how many USDA agents there are to inspect and regulate all those
I thought
farms?
I thought it was FDA.
No, it's the
Oh, is it?
USDA. Yep,
Nah, shit.
15.
20.
Oh,
In the whole country.
20.
Damn, we got more employees at our bars and restaurants here.
And there's about 62,000
holy shit.
operations that those 20 people have to inspect
Go.
and regulate.
Oh, so shit just flies all through
That's
their
why-
grip.
and that's why-
Bill's coming this
Yeah,
weekend.
and so Bill
Buy
Gates,
local, guys. Buy
Bill
local.
Gates too. If you want to really fall down the rabbit
Yeah, that
hole.
dude's a nerd, and
Bill
I can't
Gates.
stand him.
Bill Gates is the largest landholder in the United States. Do you know why? McDonald's, all of their French
They
fries,
come from his farm.
they come from Bill Gates farms.
So this dude is not only
And they're like this big.
Yes,
they're,
they're
they're probably
huge.
fucking
They're
huge.
the
They're
biggest-
probably enormous.
That
They're the
is
biggest potato you've
Yep.
ever seen, and they don't have a skin like a normal potato.
because you know it's
either.
modified. and
100%.
shit.
Bill Gates is big into genetically modified foods, which, like we were talking about with vegetable-based food or plant-based foods, there's definitely a place for genetically modified fruits and vegetables. You know, like seedless watermelon, modern bananas. You know, big bananas.
Broccoli and cabbage.
Yeah, natural bananas are about that big. They're small.
Right, and
but-
tons of seeds in the middle of them.
Things have to be genetically modified to feed all these people. I mean, there's
That makes
people
sense.
being born every single day, and you know, we're not all going to be able to eat amazingly all
Just
the time.
stop making
but
it plastic.
I know.
Is it
Stop
him
making
though?
it so
I'm like,
bad.
is he the dude? Like, he's the dude behind all the COVID shit and all the vax shit. He's the dude behind all the food shit. Like,
People like
It's
There's a
a
lot of
weird-
there's a
They-
puppet master out
Yeah.
there, right?
He's
yeah,
there.
everybody believes the
He's there.
establishment,
Yeah,
right? That
man.
there's like this one. Everybody kind of thinks there's like this one or two people that are like the establishment, like leaders, right? The kingpin, and I'm like. All signs kind of point to that dude being like the guy that's destructing America. Like,
yeah.
It's
it
well,
ain't, I hate to say it because I don't really, support this dude, but it ain't really necessarily Joe, Sleepy Joe. It's, it's this dude that's buying all the land and screwing the food.
Oh
and
yeah, for
screwing
sure. Definitely.
Screwing the, the diseases and shit.
Sleepy Joe's
It-
just like Ronald McDonald.
it's no
Presidents-
different. It's no different than when you go to a store and you're seeing the employees there. They're not the ones that are making the decisions. It's the
Yeah.
people behind them that you're
Exactly.
not seeing that are making those decisions. They're just faces.
That's
Presidents
scary
are
to know about the
figureheads, like the
McDonald's
Queen.
French fry shit.
Yeah,
I
look
did not
into
know
that's
that.
a real
And
real
I
thing.
think
And
they
the
have
whole
to
FDA.
I
I'm
believe
gonna
the-
look that up.
The
That's-
McDonald's potatoes have to like sit in this dark shed for like a year.
They're
Might not
poisonous.
be a year, but it's like
That's why them
It's
damn
months.
things taste so good.
They're
Because
poisonous. They give off a
manipulating 'em and
gas,
making 'em
yes.
taste
Mhm.
all damn good.
they said those potatoes, when by the time you eat them, they're more carcinogenic than a pack of cigarettes now.
Mm-hmm. There's a certain toxin that potatoes produce once they.
But it's nutritious and
mold,
we
yeah.
feed it to our children at least once or twice a week. Some people feed their kids that every day.
Some people do.
Yeah.
Even
Or they feed themselves that
That's-
even.
and the
Yeah,
thing
I
is,
do
like
it
you
once in a
guys talk
while.
about the FDA and that, like that's all funded probably by his ass, or funded by somebody else that we don't know about. That's like, hey, tell them to approve this shit and tell them that this is okay and tell them that that's okay, and it'll
Yeah.
be fine.
and I think a lot of it too is I remember when I was in college, I was taking a business management class, and we were talking about different management styles and management principles. And there's this there's this management principle. It's called the Peter principle. Basically, that the higher you get promoted in a company or up the corporate ladder, the more incompetent and unnecessary you become.
That's some real shit.
It's true.
It's so true.
You know,
isn't it?
so you start at the bottom. You know,
Work your tail off.
exactly, like your grocery store bagger, the poor son of a bitch that's grabbing carts in the middle of the parking lot, you know, like, and then the higher you go, the more unnecessary your job becomes. But and so that principle also applies to the government and all of the different branches of the government and everything like that. There's people that don't necessarily know what the hell's going on, you know, like running the FDA, the USDA, and all that stuff. And
They're just showing up to clock in.
yeah, for sure, for
You
sure.
guys think it'll ever change? Like, do you guys think somebody will ever come along that, I'm a big fan of PBD, right? Patrick Bet David talks a lot about how, like, if he was, he can't run for president, but if he was to run for president, the first thing he would do is like
and the pharmaceutical advertising. Like, just shut it down. No
Absolutely.
more advertising.
Neo will come save us in real life.
I don't even think Neo could save us now. We're so screwed.
You don't think there's anybody that will ever come along that'll kind of say we're shutting this shit down. We're gonna be like Italy. We're gonna start getting our food together. We're gonna be like this place.
Honestly, I think for that to happen, America's gonna split into smaller sections.
It depends.
I listened.
Italy,
I listened to a podcast about this today, actually, and they were talking about how you almost have to have a sense of community in order to make something like that work. Because, and they were talking about religion and a sense of purpose and all these other like different things and like the family model and all that, but. It was interesting to me because that's one thing that America lacks is they lack like that community. Like somebody's yelling in the street for somebody's name. What are you out there? Or are you in the window? Like, what's the difference? And people aren't going to work together if they don't have that sense of community.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's huge.
We're very apart, and it's weird because like when 9/11 happened, like we all were so close. Like it didn't matter what color you were. It didn't matter like if I fucking hated you. Like I was gonna come shake your hand and be like, "Damn it, you my guy. I love you, man."
Yeah.
Like, and we've not seen America be able to come together, and we've had a lot of shit happen. And
COVID could have happened. It could have happened
what's wild to me about
Mhm.
COVID is like it didn't. Like I thought COVID would be something that people
Didn't
go,
have the
"This is
internet, though.
bullshit." Now I'm gonna go ahead and now we're gonna come, and instead they were like, "I hate you and I hate your opinion."
No, here's the difference though. We had a direct opponent for 9/11,
Oh,
whether it was
yeah.
real or not.
True.
For COVID,
We had multiple.
there was so much misinformation. Everybody thought they were gonna die.
Yeah.
There was about a month to 2 weeks to a month where everybody thought this was it.
Mhm.
This is the
It's
end.
not
Hey,
funny,
I'm not
but
gonna lie. The
it's
first
so
couple
true.
weeks, I was
Society
like,
is
"Oh,
done.
"We're done."
We had no idea.
I have a picture of my father.
There was 2 weeks there where I'm like,
Do you remember?
Yeah, the hazmat suit.
My dad had a hazmat suit, and I have a picture of him standing in the kitchen, and I was like, "Are you going to the grocery store or what, man?" Like, I don't know.
I mean,
I
no,
fell for it too, though. I can't.
nobody
lie.
knew what was going to happen, and it's you asked like what's it going to take
V is
to
for vendetta. That is
Yeah.
what's good.
well you asked like what's it going to take for all this to change. So the first thing is somebody has to come along and pull the band-aid off of politicians being able to trade stocks, because a lot of the major food corporations and stuff like that are publicly traded companies, and they have government employees and representatives that are invested in that company, and it's hard to divest yourself. People say that they're going to do it, and they're like, "Oh, I'm not going to do anything while I'm in office. I'm not going to do this." It's hard to divest yourself from that. So a lot of the times there's companies that the market has selected for extinction, but they're being artificially propped up by the system, so and a lot that's what it's going to have to take. That's the first thing is taking away the corporatism aspect of it.
No more lobbying.
No more lobbying.
There's
and
not even a candidate though right now. that
no
would even do
nobody
that.
has the balls to do that.
There's-
And if
You
they did
can't
have the
get
balls,
funded
they
for
wouldn't get
that.
Maybe
funded.
RFK, but RFK would never even.
Yeah.
RFK is never going to get.
Yeah,
in.
for sure. And the second thing that would have to happen, which might be even bigger, is that a lot of Americans, ourselves included, myself too, it's a lifestyle change. It's hard to just shut down all of these large factory farms, as evil as they are, because like we mentioned, like McDonald's, Taco Bell, Wendy's, all that stuff, it's part of American culture now, and it's kind of ingrained in our DNA to kind of go there for quick food and things like that, and instead of
Our parents did it to us.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
what I
You
was
know what
actually
Yeah.
just gonna say is it's ingrained because we've been programmed.
Yep.
So if the programming changed,
right.
people would change.
Tell
Yep.
them they
If
got to
the
follow
media
the money.
would just bombard us with healthy instead of McDonald's, then we would eat this way.
Exactly.
See, that's what's scary.
Brost
because
would be the biggest farm they could be at
Yeah,
that
not-
Right.
and
not the other subscription service. That,
Right.
That's right. local.
That's what's scary though, is because I don't like, man, I don't know who. And then the person who does have the balls, like, ultimately probably gets shut down at the door and told to fuck off.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you ain't
Exactly.
doing shit like that.
You
know?
have to.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the
It's- you
pharmaceutical
have to-
thing earlier. Like, I think anybody who stepped in a room and was like, I'm gonna sign an executive order to do, like, 2 weeks later, whenever that executive order is up, like, they just gonna go. Ain't nobody going for that.
It's all about the money, and it's really hard to shut the money down because
The money,
that's
Lebowski.
what's
Even
propped
our
everything up.
freedom fighters, you know.
Yeah.
It's sad because even our freedom fighters and our leadership are not.
Yeah, somebody will go into office and be, you know, like a fighter, and I'm gonna fight for you, and then, you know, they get there and
Criticize Trump for it, man.
some guy from the NRA or
Yep.
Tyson Packaging or whatever be like,
Hey, buddy,
here's 200 grand.
shut up.
Ooh,
Okay.
fancy.
You want to go to Bali for the week?
Yep.
Yeah, right.
And like, so, and I think that happened to our previous thing. I think, like, a lot of people judge, right, and say, well, why didn't he do this? He said he was going to do this and that. I think he literally got in a room and was like, oh
They
shit,
get into a room.
this isn't how this works.
And then
I
you
can't
learn
just come
how
in
it
and
all
drop my
happens.
nuts.
It's not
not
that
as-
easy, especially you know that with we deal with it too. With, you know, we have to get government inspections every once in a while, and, you know,
They
just
come out
keep
to
up
the farm
licenses
and do all that shit.
Oh yeah,
Because we
we're
sell
all-
retail.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah.
And
we're all
so
licensed and everything.
the farm itself
wild.
isn't inspected, but we take courses on animal care and
Mhm.
husbandry to make sure that our animals are properly taken care of, and we
Yeah,
know
we're
what to do.
certified by the Beef Quality Assurance.
So what do they come inspect? Just your barn?
Yep.
They just come check, make sure all the retail shit and all that's clean and up to code or whatever.
Freezers are at the correct temperature.
Right.
Everything's packaged and labeled and
Okay.
dated and
Yep.
all that stuff. And
Now, do you guys deal with, like, our health department? Do they come ever visit you guys or anything?
As customers.
There you go.
Yeah.
Shout out to them for coming
Yep.
to
Hey
the
Wendy, what's up?
Shout
Yeah.
out. That's
but yeah,
awesome.
we don't require any kind of
Okay.
like health department inspection.
But we don't serve food like
Mhm.
that, and
Right. I didn't know how all that worked.
yeah, you have to have different licensing and insurance and stuff. But up until the last year, we got a surprise knock on the door. But that was because we were flying under the radar there for a little bit. So
Yeah, and it wasn't even a big deal. It was just the state being like, "Hey, can you give us your money,
Money.
pretty
A little bit
please?"
of money.
Yeah.
money, please.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. There was our first couple of years in business. I didn't make them, quarterly payments, and anything in business. If you owe them $1, even
Oh,
if it's
yeah, for
$1 and a
sure.
penny,
They're
they're gonna
coming.
send you
Yeah.
that letter or come knocking like, "Yo, where's
Yeah.
my buck?"
I will find you.
Yep. I've been hit with those a few times in business.
We'll take everything you own for this dollar.
For this
Right.
dollar.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
like, you had to send me 7 pages and call me and do this over $58, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
What the hell?
you couldn't have just left a quick
They spend
how it
voicemail
goes.
or
Yeah.
email or something. Like,
Very professional.
Yeah. That's how it goes. And we're really lucky. The guy that is our rep from the Michigan Department of Agriculture is super cool.
okay.
He's a
He does-
farm guy, you know.
yeah, he
he's
does
in the
his job.
he's doing the same thing that we are, you know. So we got really lucky with that for sure. But yeah, we're all licensed for retail sales, and
So I don't know if
Okay.
you have any more questions. I just have one more, just for the listeners.
Go ahead.
I just want to know what's next. Like, what do you guys got in the works? What's next?
we have a lot of ideas that we're constantly talking about. It's funny because we kind of operate, you know how like factory, you know, like a smokestack, they have like those air scrubbers and like a bunch of shit goes up, and then the air scrubber scrubs all
yeah.
the shit out, and then the
Yep.
good stuff comes out.
I'm the
I'm
scrubber.
the pollutant, she's the scrubber. I just come up with ideas all day long, and she's like, no, maybe, no, yeah,
File that
no,
one.
hell no.
We have a couple things in the works. I don't really know. I know that we'll be looking at possibly carrying some new items.
Mhm.
We were really wanting to look at the whole co-op aspect. We kind of our whole model is local, and we already carry a lot of local products right now, and we're going to be expanding and adding more products onto that line here soon. And there'll be some changes to the farm stand and so forth, but
We're
not-
looking at adding a walk-in freezer to our
Oh,
building this year. You know, that way we can have more room to store more things. Because that when you're talking like right now, it's really cold out, so it's not a huge deal. But sometimes, you know, it's 92 degrees out. We pick meat up from our processor that's 2.5 hours away, and we got to haul ass home and then get it in the freezer ASAP because it's hot. You know, so more freezer space. That'll allow us to carry more things too. You know, we'll have more inventory, and I'd say this year we're just
It's going to be a better user experience too,
Yeah.
because you'll be able to walk into the freezer.
yeah
You'll be able
we're-
to walk into the freezer. It'll be nice and cool, you know,
Yep.
so bring your coats and your parkas. But then it'll also open up our retail space that we have right now to, you know, maybe carry more products from more local vendors. All while still, you know, getting that real farm experience of being on the farm, which
Mhm.
is
Talking
important.
about a walk-in freezer, all I could picture was D-Mills going in the freezer, punching the cow.
Oh, the carcass. No carcasses. No carcasses.
Yeah, so just expanding our retail sales. You know, our website that we launched like a year and a half ago, it's been really, really successful. So expanding upon that, making things easier, adding more features
We
to
have
the website.
Great partnerships. I
Mhm.
don't know, that's not anything that we touched on, but we have a long list of great partners. Public House Food and Drink, that's been our longest running
Shout out.
partnership.
Yeah, we provide them with
Absolutely.
ground beef, ribeye, and chuck roast.
So you can go there and
Mhm.
yes, and those are some
All of it's
elevated
delicious.
burgers. If you haven't tried those burgers, they are
Their burgers are
I like the
outstanding.
peanut butter.
Oh,
Peanut butter
so
sriracha.
their
yeah.
cherry burger is off
Hell
the
no.
charts.
I'm
And
You gotta
it's,
check this.
it's local,
Telling
you know, it's our local beef that, you
Dude,
know, single sourced animal
awesome. I didn't
ground
know
beef.
You're gonna
that.
bite
Yeah.
into that peanut butter and
right
jelly
on.
burger and be like, "Oh my
Dude,
god!"
I'm telling you
Life-changing.
right now. I'm telling you 1,000%. I am not eating a peanut
It's
butter. and
delicious.
jelly
Yeah,
burger.
it's good.
It's great.
Yeah,
Damn, man,
Public
I'm
House.
being outnumbered.
I get it without the bacon though, because the bacon.
Yeah,
I get it on the side.
You got a side bacon it. yeah.
right.
So yeah, Public House, Aqua Dolce. If you go in there,
Okay.
their
Yep.
breakfast sandwiches or breakfast items, you can add bacon. That's us. So that's
Yep.
something to yeah.
Mhm.
Shout out to them.
Yeah,
Yep.
the beer cooler. You can
Yep, the
drive
Monroe
through,
beer
Didn't
cooler.
know
Our
that.
pick
products
up
are
some
there.
of our
Yeah.
products there, and
Yeah, those
they-
guys are awesome.
they take EBT there too.
Yep.
You know, that's something that we don't take at our store. Hopefully, we'll be changing that in the future.
Yeah, we've been
Yeah.
What
looking
do they
into it.
sell at the beer cooler?
Well, a little
I mean,
bit of
for-
everything.
Of like,
Brats,
yeah.
burgers. They
Okay.
have steaks. They carry cowboy steaks. That's one of their
what's
specialties.
that?
It's a smaller version of a tomahawk. So it's that
Okay.
ribeye that you like.
Mhm. Tomahawk with the rib bone, except they just cut the rib bone, so there's about 3/4 of an inch
Okay.
of rib bone. sticking out.
Chorizo. You know, that's
I
another.
love some chorizo.
Oh, go
Dude,
come
their
out to the farm.
chorizo-
I got a pack
So
of
you
chorizo
can hit
waiting
the
for you.
farm.
Awesome.
Or for those who don't know who are listening, you can literally go through the drive-through beer cooler.
That's right.
You can get your damn dinner tonight, get
Yep.
your drinks, get your, whatever. I
didn't
so
know
I
that.
knew that, but I
Elevated.
didn't know you guys had all that stuff.
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep,
They have a
and-
really
It's
good
awesome.
selection over there that they carry. Sometimes they even have chuck roasts or like skirt
Mhm.
steaks and stuff
Kudos
like
to
that.
them for taking the or the beer cooler and
Oh.
taking it to a whole nother
Yeah,
They
they-
level.
changed that whole
Damn.
place. You
It's
guys
kind-
should
it's like
get
a
a hold of
grocery
them about
store
how.
now.
It used to be chips and
Man.
a
Oh,
Gatorade and a pack of
yes. I mean,
cigarettes.
you can still get that, but it's definitely more of a grocery store vibe now
See,
instead
that's
of.
cool.
And it's
Instead of
local.
just a
They
party
carry
store.
so many local products. It's not just us. They carry tons and tons of
That's where
stuff.
Gabe that came on the show. That's where he works.
And I
Okay.
lastly, the last place that we out of town, we do Total Health Foods carries our products up in Wyandotte.
Yeah.
They're a health food store.
Yeah, I've been in there.
Yep.
Okay.
So
I
they
didn't-
carry some of our stuff.
How
as
long
well.
have they carried your stuff?
Probably about a
Um,
year.
Yeah, it's been about
Okay,
a year that
so-
we've been there
okay.
now.
Yeah, there's two women that own that shop. They're twin sisters.
Well, there's a
and-
third woman, but she's not part of the twins.
Yeah, they're hilarious. They're all of 5.5 feet tall. Well, they're probably 5 feet tall, and they're just like the funniest little balls of energy you'll ever meet.
That's
Funkiest spirits you'll ever
And
encounter.
where is that at again?
It's right downtown Wyandotte.
Okay, Wyandotte.
Total Health Food
Good area,
Store.
busy
Yeah,
area.
yeah, it's
And
right
they
on Biddle
carry
Ave.
a lot of organic options and herbal supplements and
Coffees, the best like organic chocolate covered fruits you'll ever eat.
they have a little deli
See,
in there
most
too.
of what I eat is
so
organic, so that
Yeah.
stuff like that is.
Yeah, you'll have to
90%
check
of the
it
stuff
out.
I consume is organic, so
They're-
that's cool.
they're big on local too. So almost everything they carry is a locally based product.
Love that. So
Yep.
downriver, if any of you guys are looking for Brost,
Yep,
downriver.
and then on our website, you can go on our website and you can place orders for delivery, free delivery in Monroe. Anything outside $75, is that still your limit?
75 is my limit. There's
$75.
no fee.
Make it worth it.
$75 is free delivery. Downriver,
okay.
we go as far north as like Allen Park. that area.
No, we go as far as Outer Drive area, like that Dearborn area,
Mhm.
and then all the way over 94.
Yeah.
Yep. So, well, we do the Ypsilanti Farmers Market as well. They have an online format that we sell. And so I do deliveries on Tuesday out there. So it just makes sense to get on 94 and head out that way.
Mhm.
So Belleville, Ypsi, New Boston, all of the above.
Yeah. Yes, you can order on the website. Like I said, you can do delivery, and you can see Caitlin's smiling face every Tuesday.
Sometimes.
So and then Thursday, Friday, and Saturday we're open on the farm. All our hours and everything are on the website. And then in the summertime we're at various farmers markets. We always post on our Facebook where we're gonna be and everything like that, where you can come find us if you want to come to the farmers market wherever we're at, and buy a bag of popcorn or whatever else. They have a lot of homemade soaps, a lot of produce, a lot of that's about it.
All right, so give us the website again and give us your address, and then we'll get on out of here.
Yeah.
Brostfarms.com. Pretty simple,
Super
straightforward.
easy.
You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. It's Brost Farms for both those tags. Address is 4424 North Custer. It's 48162 right here in Monroe. And what else?
Yep.
One more
Big yellow
time. What's
farmhouse.
what's the barn hours? One more time for everybody that wants to stop out.
Okay, so it's seasonal. Right now is our wintertime hours. So that's Thursday and Friday, 11 to 6, and then Saturday, 9 to 1. In the summertime, we do farmers markets on Thursdays. So we are closed at the farm on Thursdays, but we're open Friday and Saturday, same hours.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah, we used to be open Sundays too, but
Haha, not anymore.
too much football to watch.
Got to take
Yeah,
your
you
Sundays,
gotta
man. Have to. Sundays are for me are the same way. Football and a podcast.
Yep.
That's it.
Family
Go
day.
Lions, by the way.
Yes.
Some news come across while we were doing this.
Jim
What's-
Harbaugh's
Jim
out.
Harbaugh.
Oh, where'd he go? San Fran or
Chargers.
San Diego?
Yeah.
You
Or
got
San
it.
Diego
San
Chargers,
Diego,
Los
LA.
Angeles. Sorry,
So
Los
I
Angeles
didn't want to
Chargers.
say it about 10 minutes ago, but I
So,
looked at
yeah.
my notifications
Did
and
he?
I tried not to let my mood get affected.
I know.
So
man.
I kept rolling, but
I
I was
figured-
We knew that was coming.
I
though.
figured he was, because he announced a whole staff and everything the other day, and he took his wife to
They've been
Los
staying there.
Angeles. He took his wife out for the second interview. Like
So
the
what
dude's
I heard,
obviously
it was
gone.
Belichick basically had the right to turn it down or take it, and obviously he turned it down.
Belichick turned it down. I think he'll probably end up.
He's going to Atlanta.
I think either Atlanta or I thought they were gonna shit can Sirianni over at Philadelphia. I thought he was toast for sure, but they kept him.
I don't really like him, to be honest. but
No, yeah, not really.
It's crazy, man. If I, as a Michigan fan, though, I'm gonna say this. This is all I got to say about it. Do the right thing. Hire my guy, Sharon Moore.
Yeah.
Sharon Moore,
He's
yeah.
a great coach, better human
He's
being
built
than
in.
he is a coach, and he's a great coach. Go hire him. That's the dude. Michigan's in good hands.
All
For
right.
sure.
Thanks for coming.
And it with
Thanks,
little,
guys.
and it
Thanks,
with little
guys.
sports talk.
Great conversation.
It was
Thanks
good.
for listening, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Don't forget Coach's show
See
on
you
Sunday.
guys.
Yeah, tune in Sunday, 7 p.m.